This is one of the escape routes for homeschoolers from Sweden. By ship, 2 hours across the icy Baltic Sea to the Åland Islands, a part of Finland where the locals speak Swedish, and where parents can homeschool in freedom. Sweden's homeschool movement has been crushed by a state apparatus that wants children as young as 1 year old in daycare.
The Swedish government believes that the state takes better care of children than parents.
Jonas Himmelstrand is the president of the Swedish Homeschool Association.
I mean, they're slowly going to more of a police state where, children are being more controlled. They have to be in school.
And after the Himmelstrands were threatened with tens of thousands of dollars worth of fines for homeschooling, the family slipped quietly out of Sweden and is beginning a new life in Finland.
And we had many friends telling us, please get out, we are worried for you.
Homeschoolers Magnus and Kina Valen Henriksson worked in the music industry in Stockholm before fleeing to Finland.
We were afraid to stay. Our children were in danger and our family were in danger.
The choice was quite easy, really, to make.
Most Swedish homeschoolers are not doing it for religious reasons, but because they see the educational and social development homeschooling provides their children.
We noticed that our children is enjoying the way they learn. We can see that our children develop very fast and good, both emotionally and social and intellectual.
Before 2010, it was possible to homeschool in Sweden, but the government changed its education law to ban it in almost all cases. It also forced private schools to teach the state curriculum. Swedish human rights lawyer Ruby Harold Claesson calls what's happening in Sweden a parental inquisition. There was a time when Sweden was synonymous with freedom and safety. It was a haven for political refugees. But today, Sweden is creating political refugees. The homeschooler.
Sweden's treatment of parents in the area of education is totalitarian. They want to take children and basically from birth until graduation control them.
Michael Donnelly, Director of International Relations at the Homeschool Legal Defense Association, says Sweden's treatment of parents violates established standards for human rights.
In fact, the UN Declaration on Human Rights, signed in 1947, which is considered a foundational human rights document, actually says in Article 26, Part 3, that parents have a prior right to decide the kind of education that their children should have.
But Sweden's ambassador to the U.S. says the Swedish government does not find that homeschooling is necessary for religious or philosophical reasons. And the Swedish government wants children as young as possible. Parents are pressured to put children as young as 1 year old into daycare.
And one mother told me when she went with her 18-month son to the medical checkup, he was not in daycare, and they said, oh, is your son not in daycare yet? But he has to go to daycare. He needs that, and you need to work. And it's only a question of time, many believe, until we have a compulsory daycare. And the argument for this is that they say that every child has a right to daycare. This is not a right that parents are allowed to interfere with.
Donnelly says there's a bad historical precedent for Sweden's control of children and education, the dictatorships of the last century.
This seems to be what's happening in Sweden. They want to get the kids, they want to socialize them the way they think is appropriate, and they don't want parents to be involved.
Sweden does not believe it's the parents' right to choose what and how you raise your children, period.
This has caffeine in it, so you're going to have a kick.
Texan Lisa Angerstig married a Swede and lives in Uppsala with their 4 children. They're in court battling fines levied over the homeschooling of their son.
The government, they believe that if you keep your kids at home, it's possible that you're indoctrinating them.
And you're basically saying parents are a negative influence. We got to limit it.
That's exactly what they're saying. They are saying that in what they're doing.
A major issue for the Swedish government is gender equality. In fact, the website of a leading educator includes the slogan, Sweden, no more housewives, but higher wages for women. Tamara Himmelstrand says she used to experience the daily disapproval of stay-at-home moms in Sweden.
That makes it hard for me, yeah.
That you're a bad person?
Yeah, I'm a bad person, yes. Yes, I walked around feeling like I'm a bad person. Yeah, I'm doing something no one approves of.
But Sweden's experiment with state control of children and families does not seem to be going so well. The Swedish government's own report shows the psychological health of Swedish youth is declining faster than in 11 comparable European countries.
And this is being discussed. Why are Swedish young people so psychologically unhealthy, so full of anxiety, so easily depressed? If you ask any developmental psychologist out of Sweden who's into these questions, they will say that, well, it has a likely connection with the fact that, 93% of all 18-month to 5-year-olds are in daycare, often for many hours a day.
Educational test scores are dropping as well, with some of the worst classroom discipline problems in Europe.
Sweden is one of the richest countries in the world. We've got highest spending on education. Our children should be doing absolutely the best of any country in the world. But they're not.
These families who sacrifice so much by fleeing Sweden say it is a relief to finally be able to homeschool in freedom. But what about the nation they left behind? One European Union study suggests Swedish family policy is making Swedish adults worse parents. Himmelstrand believes the Swedish government's iron grip on education and children is steering Sweden toward a social breakdown. Dale Hurd, CBN News, in the Orland Islands, Finland.